How to make a great game that punches above its weight. But yeah, this is from the team behind Witchfire, which apparently were former CD Projekt Red developers. Seem to be more successful without their corporate overlords. Big shock there. Most of Witchfire was done by a team of 12 people. When we revealed that, people noticed. This game was made by 12 people. It looks more fun than most AAA games. This is what passion and creativity looks like, and it's not just corporate cash grabs that are filled with microtransactions and long walking sections. It's called cinematic. But this started earlier with the vanishing of Ethan Carter. Being a huge fan of the Astronauts' previous game, Vanishing of Ethan Carter, I just knew that the next game was going to be even more amazing. Even though they're a small team, they somehow managed to bring AAA quality wherever to whatever they create, and Witchfire is no exception. That's right. While challenging at first, once you get the hang of it, it's massively fun and almost dangerously addicting. The gameplay is refined, the controls feel great, and oh my goodness, does it look good, stunningly good. And it doesn't run like shit. It sounds insane today, but one of the stronger marketing beats we've done was to give press to 3 very short GIFs from the game. Old school, real bloated GIFs, not MP4 videos pretending to be GIFs. Not many games look like that in current year minus 11, and we got great coverage. The fact that such a visual quality was achieved with a tiny team obviously helped. Of course, we're not alone in making a fun, good-looking game with a suspiciously small team. Hades, Ori, Disco Elysium, and Manor Lords were all made by teams or even single developers that punch well above their weight. Creating games that feel like they were made with 3, 5, or 10 times more people. Wow, are you telling me that it's almost like a lot of people on these bloated teams are just, bloat? And they either don't contribute or they're a detriment, and as soon as you get rid of them, you could do good work? Oh, no, say it ain't so. Lately, we got another contender, Clear Obscure Expedition 33. I finished the game. Yeah, as a game designer, it's time for me to dive into the design side of the game. It clicks perfectly for me. The combat, puzzle, story structure, the way the world expands, and what feels off, the QTEs, the UI. Okay, I'm glad I agree with that, because I've seen some footage, and as soon as I saw QuickTime events, I'm like, fuck. And even with my 30 plus years of experience in making games that look bigger than they should, Painkiller was made with 16 people on average. So I'm still not quite sure how they pulled it off. I get 90% of it, how to make 7 hours of high quality cutscenes, half of which feature extensive visual effects. I just cannot comprehend. Well, nowadays they do that with AI. Nonetheless, even with that missing 10%, I'm pretty sure the recipe behind it is all universal and comes down to 2 things. Take notes, people. This is the important lesson. The 2 most important things if you want to make a high-quality game with a small team that apparently hits well above its weight class. All right, sit down for this one. This is going to shock you. The 2 things are smart choices and a good team. So pretty much the exact opposite of a corporate environment. The first is simple, simple to explain, but hard to execute. With smart choices, you avoid time sinks, either dropping them altogether or replace them with something quicker, at least as good. Another approach is reusing assets, but in a way that's invisible or nearly invisible to the player. This, of course, requires a lot of thought and experience, but is very doable in any game. Let me give you one example from Expedition 33 and Witchfire. With the former, note how almost all enemies are not human and have no faces. Yeah, that makes it easy, huh? Faces are among the hardest things to get right in video games. Yeah, it's because of that fucking uncanny valley. Demanding significant time and effort because humans are biologically hardwired to focus on them. Removing faces not only saves an insane amount of time, but also provides opportunity to create unique, exciting enemy designs. Make fights more engaging, covering some humanoids with creepy masks further enhances the atmosphere. So this solution helped the team avoid a major time sink while making the game more compelling. For Witchfire, see this enemy? I see. It's the first enemy we created, and Marcin Kliki from CD Projekt Red made it multi-layered, meaning the armor and clothing can be stripped off the character. Thanks to this, throughout the development, we created at least 7 other enemies from this one model. Remove the armor and clothes, change the skin material to dead white, lengthen the arms, make the model semi-transparent, and voila, we have a ghost. Replace the helmet with a distinct new model and attach a small shield to the ghoul's wrist, and boom, we have a buckler swordsman. You get the idea. It is kind of obvious they're using the same animations, though. If nothing else, I think someone would have noticed that. But yeah, when you're a small team, like, look, no one's gonna be too mad at you for reusing assets. Like, it only really becomes a problem if you try to like flex how much money and resources you got, and then you're doing these shortcuts. But no, this is actually very good advice for a lot of reasons. Like I keep saying with anime is a perfect example of cost cutting in action. They cut every possible thing they could while still keeping the end product appealing. That's what you got to do in business. Well, but here's the thing: the reuse doesn't look cheap because it makes sense. Our enemies are remnants of an old army annihilated by the witch, turning the dead into her minions. So, with a military background, it's natural the soldiers would have some similar armor pieces or combat poses. A private and a captain have the same firing stance, right? But by clever reuse, we created more enemies than if we had built each from scratch, enriching the gameplay variety. Moreover, since some originate from the same base model, the world feels more coherent. Yeah, at least it's artistically consistent. There is that as well. That's right. Here, the FromSoft school animation is relatively similar and build muscle memory around seeing when you're dealing with more than 4 at once, which makes sense. I think that's a brilliant idea. Just two examples. These are just two examples, but there's more, like using external assets. Expedition 33 utilized Paragon's enemies for its prototypes. It sure did. Nothing wrong with that, man. Like a lot of these even quote unquote AAA games like to reuse assets. Didn't Alan Woke have a lot of assets? All right, helping the team quickly grasp what made their game tick. Similarly, we purchased many assets from the real marketplace, like photoscanned ruins, allowing us to diversify our worlds. Okay, now that you said that, there's going to be some tism. You're going to have a massive amount of tism coming at you. Oh my God! You see that one vehicle? That one vehicle was an asset. Oh my God! These devs literally made an asset flip, guys. Lazy asset flip developers, guys. Man, we see so many of those people out there. It's funny. Of course, you can't make an entire game this way. Well, you can. I mean, look at PUBG. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go. Was that too far? Hard work on time-intensive tasks. The original content is essential. That's why Expedition 33 took 6 years, and why Witchfire is in its 8th year. Still, things would have been twice as tough without smart choices. That's right. This is the epitome of work smarter, not harder. The second key to success is equally easy to explain, but more controversial. Every person on your team has to be talented, passionate, and hardworking. So the reason this is controversial is because this flies in the face of DEI. Like, diversity is our strength. Oh, the most important thing is having a diverse team with many different viewpoints. No, that's a detriment more than anything. Like, man, so many creative projects have been sunk because they drove the initial the driving force of the creativity to leave the company and turned it into some corporate fucking focus group driven bullshit. Everything is done by committee. No, that doesn't work with creativity. Creative projects need to have one creative lead that's driving the show according to their vision, not this committee bullshit. But anyway, so why controversial? Because you must be extremely selective about hiring and ruthless if mistakes occur and someone doesn't deliver 100%. Yes! And you can't afford to hire for DEI either. So here's a quote attributed to Heraclitus. Okay. Out of every 100 men, 10 shouldn't even be there. 80 are just targets. 9 are real fighters. And we're lucky to have them, for they make the battle. And the one is a warrior, and he will bring the others back. That does actually fit with my observations. If you want your team composed of those real fighters, maybe even multiple instances of that one warrior, Maurice X, a renowned 18th century French military commander, said it best: "It's not big armies that win battles; it's the good ones." And again, he's right. Quality over quantity. Now, unless you're forced to fight a battle, like where you're just standing across the field from each other in formation shooting, I don't think skill matters as much in that case. You're all just cannon fodder. But if the smart soldiers have a little bit more freedom to operate, oh yeah, they're gonna get results. And here's Steve Jobs on the topic. It's a long quote, but crucial to understanding how the best developers operate. Yeah, so Apple under Steve Jobs was actually pretty good. And then when first, remember, they drove him out of his own company, and then they almost went bankrupt. They had to beg him to come back and save them. And then he did, and then he died, and now they're going to shit because clearly the Apple of today doesn't follow Steve Jobs' mantras. But that's besides the point. Most things in life have a dynamic range in which the ratio of average to best is at most 2-1. For example, if you go to New York City and get an average taxi cab driver versus the best taxi cab driver, you'll probably get to your destination with the best 30% faster. And an automobile, what's the difference between the average car and the best? Maybe 20%. The best CD player versus the average CD player, maybe 20%. So 2-1 is a big dynamic range for most things in life. Now, in software, and it used to be the case in hardware, the difference between the average software developer and the best is 50-1, maybe even 100-1. Very few things in life are like this, but software is. No, I agree with him. Man, like if you have like a true superstar coder, that one guy is worth 100 other employees. It is exactly like this. So I've built a lot of my success on finding these truly gifted people and not settling for B and C players, but really going for the A players. Yeah, and now that you're dead, they replaced you with B players who hired C players who hired D players. And I found something that when you get enough A players together, when you go through the incredible work to find those A players, they really like working with each other because they have never had the chance to do that before. Like they don't like to work with with B and C players. Oh, absolutely. Like why? Especially if you're working for the B or C players. Like it is not a good feeling at all having to work for someone that has like a third the IQ you do because they got there by nepotism or whatever other reason. And now you have to listen to all of their bad decisions and then take the blame for them. Like, yeah, no A people want to work for B or C people, or even with them. Yeah, because they're just in the way. I mean, a lot of times, like it's not just that they're there, like they're just wasting space, not doing anything. Their input actually makes things worse. Every time they touch something, it gets worse. So then you got to do their jobs for them too to make sure they don't touch anything. So it's self-policing. You only want to hire A players, so you build these pockets of A players, and it just propagates. Yep. Hire based on headhunting, not based on applications. That I think is one of the best ways to do it. Although you still have to test for personality. Just because someone is talented doesn't mean they'd actually be a good fit for your company. And the sooner you learn that, the better. Talent matters, but why is passion essential? Well, it's because the passion is what drives you to go that extra mile. So if you're talented, but you don't have passion, you're just going to move into paycheck milking mode. You're like, I was given this task that's supposed to take all day. I can finish it in half an hour. So I'll finish it in half an hour and then just goof off for the other 7.5 and then turn it in at the end of the day. But if that person is passionate, they'll do the task in half an hour and then start working on other improvements because they actually care. But anyway, that's my explanation. What about this guy? So first, gamers intuitively sense if your games are crafted with love or from spreadsheets. Yeah, this too. Gamers can tell if a game was made by passion or by committee. They tend to avoid the corporate slop. His points especially relevant in a post-COVID world. The main developers work remotely. Only the best individuals self-organize effectively, making remote work viable regardless of how competent your producers are. Honestly, this could be its own blog post. Let me add two things. First, I've led teams ranging from a single person to 100 plus hundreds of outsourcers. After over a dozen games, we have founded the astronauts. We committed to working only with the best, even if that meant smaller scale projects compared to Bulletstorm or Gears of War. Hence, our studio stayed at 12 people for so long, but with the success of Ethan and Witchfire Early Access, we're attracting more talent and have grown to 26. And I'll die for every single one of them. The policy remains unchanged, though. I hope that's true. Like, unfortunately, the bigger your team gets, the easier it gets for bloat to infiltrate. So I hope you're keeping an eye on them, but that's good. If you handpicked all of them, that's good. My second, notice I didn't mention experience. Dude, this is so big. Yeah, so I knew a guy in real life. He kept trying to hire people that were like right out of high school so he can train them to do the job correctly. But corporate refused because no, this job has a degree requirement, and they kept sending him the brainwashed college drones that refused to do the job the right way because they all wanted to change things and make everything run their way. Or people who had worked in the industry before for a few years, and they all have their ideas on how it could be better. And he's just like, dude, I just want to hire a person that I can train to do this the right way. I don't want someone trying to reinvent the wheel every fucking time. Yeah, I can sympathize with this one. Talent, passion, work ethic, yes. Experience, with these three traits, experience accumulates quickly. Yup. Oh, God. A passionate, talented person will be able to do within like a few weeks what would take a year for someone who's not passionate or talented to pull off. So in a way, yeah, their experience, like they may not have, time wise as much experience, but they've probably accomplished a lot more. Yeah, and the talent is important too, because passion isn't enough. There's plenty of people out there who have passion but no talent, unfortunately. You need a portfolio of your amateur work, ArtStation for artists, YouTube for programmers and sound engineers, etc. Damn, notice he didn't say GitHub, but experience remains the least important factor. So there you have it. Those two pillars, smart choices, and a great team are key to games that look and play as if they were made by much larger teams. So you want to know what the real reason for this is? That larger team, the competent, the A-tier people that this guy says they go out of their way to hire, that's 2,000 person corpo team probably had as many A-tier people as this small company does. And those are the people that did the majority of the heavy lifting, and everyone else was just there milking paychecks. So technically, the team sizes are pretty much the same between AAA and AA. If you only consider the people that did, that contributed actual work. Yeah, it's really funny when you notice that. I must have no idea how Sandfall pulled off all those cutscenes in Expedition 33. It's beyond human comprehension. So till next time, Adrian. They could have used AI. They could have outsourced it. Like there's nothing wrong with outsourcing like really simple grunt work. That's just, I mean, it's simple, but it takes a long time and it's tedious. Like that is exactly the type of job that should be getting outsourced. It's the stuff that almost anyone can do with enough time, but you just don't have enough time to do it. But no, this is a good lesson. All of that just to let AAA know, hey, our team of 26 people has about as much A-tier talent as your team of 2,000. Except our team doesn't have to carry an extra like 1,974. So yeah, we're going to be able to go further than you, okay?